of scheduling and a few more weeks of organization time, I really tried to incorporate as many community groups as part of this rally as I possibly could. I talked to a lot more organizations than you'll see speaking on this stage today. I've also spoken to many different groups who offered to provide different resources, to provide different sets of cash, and to provide a little bit easier pathway for us to come together today. And I want to let everyone here know that I said no to any money that wanted to be donated by any elected officials, because I really felt the grassroots effort of that last rally was one of the things that made it very powerful. I was provided different assistance from members in the community for elected officials, and I told them, with your help, you're not going to get anything in return. I'm not going to provide you any airtime on this stage just because you helped me out. And there was individuals who said, that's absolutely fine, what else do you need? So one of the individuals, and I promised I wouldn't call anyone out, is Mr. Otto Lee right over here. Where he offered his staff's hours and some of his staff's resources, which means connections, so we're able to have full high-speed internet in this park, the same type of internet that they have at San Jose Christmas in the park. So everyone, there's a free Wi-Fi that you can tap into in case you want to stream. I also want to say that everyone you see on this stage, they were hand-selected by me. And who you're going to ask, who's this guy on stage? I'm just an individual, man. I'm just an individual, a small business owner who happened to get a couple 100,000 followers on TikTok over the past year and decided to try to rally my community together to see what types of power and what types of feats that we can achieve and we can achieve together. So I want to thank everyone for being here, because there are no strings attached to this event. There's no political supporters. There's no co-sponsors. This is an event for the community, by the community. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the people who are going to be on this stage. And the first person I would like to introduce you to is an individual who helped me organize the last rally as well as this one, Mr. Eric J. Chang. Eric Chang is a Palo Alto native, Gun High School graduate. He and I were on the same wrestling team together in high school. And currently, he is the Deputy Attorney General in the California Department of Justice. He is a board member of the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association, and my good friend, Eric J. Chang.
Dajiahao, 谢谢你们来. San Jose! Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for braving this potential rain to come out here to show support, show solidarity, and to build community. Thank you! To take my jacket off. My name is Eric Chang. I was born here in the South Bay. I'm a lawyer for the California Department of Justice, and I'm a proud second-generation Chinese American. Like many of you, my parents immigrated here to build a new and better home. They've given a lot to this country. Our community has given a lot to this country. Our community includes teachers, doctors, lawyers, essential workers, healthcare workers, cooks, dry cleaners, cashiers. Our community built the railroads. They paint nails. They start businesses. Right here in Silicon Valley, our community has created hundreds of thousands of jobs for Americans all across the United States. Now, we're all tired of this pandemic, right? And many people are ready to go back to normal. But we are all here today because normal isn't good enough anymore. The old normal is violence against our grandmas and grandpas. The old normal means Black lives don't matter. The old normal is silence. It's deportations. It's time to walk away from that past and towards something new. And that's why we're here today. My name is Eric Chang. I'm a proud son of Silicon Valley. And if there's one thing that I know about California and Silicon Valley, it's that we don't go back. We innovate, we lead, we build new things. And so we're going to do three things today. One, we're going to vote. Two, we're going to learn and support the organizations and the people that are fighting for us. People like Ash Kaura, Otto Lee, who are here with us, standing in solidarity today. Organizations like Project by Project, they've got the wish tree in the back. Stand with Asians, signing up and registering voters. The League of Women Voters, AWA, the Pacific Savages Motorcycle Crew. Thank you guys all for coming out here today. And lastly, three, we're going to support each other. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to stand with each other, and when you see something, when we see something, we're going to do something. When we see something, we're going to do something. When we see something, see something. See something! See something! Thank you guys!
That's my boy Eric Chang, y'all. You know, it's funny. I'm on TikTok a lot, and I go on TikTok lives where I'm just working, and then everyone's like, why am I watching this guy work? And it's like, right now you're going to be spending 30 seconds watching me try to open the top of this lid. There you go. All right, hello? All right, everyone, so that was Eric Chang. So he's here to kick off this rally, but I promised that I'd bring the heat at this rally too. And I actually really enjoy the environment and the vibe that we're getting right now, because this is where the community is here. We actually have speakers so people in the back row can hear us now. And we're really focused on the quality of the content of this rally. So next up, we have two individuals. Who here has heard of the Asian Hustle Network before? Raise your hand. Okay, so the Asian Hustle Network is a new group that just came into play during COVID-19, and they're helping amplify Asian voices of entrepreneurs in not only the San Francisco Bay Area, but nationally and internationally as well. So without further ado, I'm going to let them introduce the rest. We have the founders of the Asian Hustle Network.
Hey everyone, so happy to be here today. Before I get started, I want to say thank you to Adam for putting this together. I want to shout out to Asians with Attitude as well. I want to shout out to Hey Devaris. I want to shout out to Stop Asian Hate and Asian Hustle Network will always be here to support. Before I get started, I want you guys to say this with me. We belong here. I'm proud to be Asian. I'm proud to be mobilizing our community to make a change. What we're seeing so far is ridiculous happening to our community. This should not be happening to our community. You know, we need to stand together, because when we're together, we're unstoppable. When we stand together, we can make change. I'm happy to say that Asian Hustle Network has been mobilizing 100,000 of our own members to stop this Asian hate. But this is just the beginning, you know. By us standing together, we're being heard. The anti-Stop Asian bill has just been passed, but this is just the beginning. We want more. You know, we don't want any more crimes happening to our community, and when we stand together, we're unstoppable. So stop Asian hate, and hate is the virus. I'm going to introduce my co-founder, Maggie, now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Chu. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's very hard to stand up here and speak in front of all of you right now. It's not easy, and it's not easy to speak up. And some of you may feel the same way, but I urge you to find your voice. It's important for all of us to attend these rallies and to show up and get our message across, but we also need to complement it with action. Another elderly Asian woman was attacked in Oakland yesterday, and the cops took too long to respond to her aid. We cannot have these attacks be allowed by our community and by our elected officials. How many more of these attacks will we need to see happen? This could have been my mother. This could have been anyone's mother or grandmother or aunt. And I'm sick and tired of these attacks, but we must keep fighting. We must hold these perpetrators accountable, and we must push for systemic change. So please find it in your hearts to step up to these attacks and to step in rather than stay away and stay quiet, because that's exactly what they're expecting us to do, and that's exactly what they think that we will do. But we will not be weak. We will not be passive, and we will not stay silent. We must hold these perpetrators accountable. And as a woman of Asian descent, I will not let anyone of these people to allow me to be a subject of fetishization because of my race. And we must keep in mind that as a woman, I am strong and I am confident. And because of my race, I will not let anyone say otherwise. We allow ourselves to be comfortable in our cities. We must feel safe in our own cities, and we all deserve to feel safe. And the fight for the Asian community must continue to go on until everyone is able to understand this. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Asian Hustle Network. I highly recommend following them on all the social media platforms. So one other quick shout out I need to give. So, by the way, I know people are saying we deserve to be here. I just want to let everyone know we really do deserve to be here. As of Friday evening, we actually received the permit from the city of San Jose that we are allowed to be here. I appreciate everyone still willing to show up even if we didn't have a permit though, because I guarantee that'd be the exact same thing. I'd have a little bit more stress on the back of my head, but we'd still be out here. Which is a great reminder. We have 5 porta potties back there in the middle of the park, and there's 2 hand washing stations as well. So feel free to utilize those, especially because after we get through our speaker list, we are going to be marching peacefully over to Discovery Meadow, which is less than a half a mile away, to take a picture in front of the mural over there, and then we're going to come back here, and that's when we're going to have an open mic portion of this rally. So next things up. Before we get to the next speaker, which is going to be a high school student that I was introduced to about a month and a half ago, instead of everyone looking up here, start looking around a little bit, because this is a really cool environment that we decided to create. This is a really cool space that we decided to take up with each other. So everyone looking around with each other. Because the reason that everyone's here is not because of anyone you're going to see on this stage, but it's because of everyone in this community, because we really try to get the community together here. And with that, I'll have the next speaker please come up. We have San Jose native, activist, and Archbishop Mitty High School's junior, James Huang.
Yeah, I'm good. When will the day come when our country looks at an Asian child and a white child and says they are just as American as each other? When will I be able to visit my grandparents and focus on their joy and the quality time we spend together instead of my relief that they have not been physically assaulted? Just this year, I was called a chink in front of others. I did not stand idly by. Will my kids too have to grow up in a country which calls them chinks, which mocks the appearance of their eyes, and now calls them a virus? These are just some of the thoughts running through my mind today as an Asian American youth. But I can tell you that these feelings of frustration and confusion with our country's distorted image of our people go back far longer than these past few months. Growing up, I would stand in lunch line as a white classmate generalized me, saying our people were good for nothing but science and math. Growing up, as I try to speak, lead, and play like the other kids, I would be called chink and gook. Growing up, as the other kids grew into their identities and learned about their cultures at school, my friends and I seemed to be left with none. We were not taught about Asian American history. We were not taught about the valiant efforts of our elders to build up this country. Instead, we felt alone, isolated, frustrated in a country which tried to make us spite our own heritage. But we were not alone. Across the country, millions of Asian American youth struggle silently, not knowing that this follows a historical trend of discrimination and racial gaslighting. So when I heard about the murder of Juratovac, about the shooting in Atlanta which left 6 Asian Americans dead, how people try to justify the shooter's bad day before the clear humanity of his victims, I was disgusted, I was distressed, but I was not surprised. I was not surprised because I had long seen how this country buries itself in ignorance, to the point where it calls its own citizens a kung flu. I was not surprised because I had experienced this racism. I had seen it in the little boy making fun of his Asian classmate to make his friends laugh. I had seen it in the grown men who grow up with these ideas unchecked and unquestioned, and proceed to pass off racism to their kids. I was not surprised because I too am an Asian American youth who struggles with racist societal norms. And Asian American youth endure and rise above these things much more than we give them credit for. Even as my friends and I rallied our communities for justice in this clear need for change and an end to violence, we would meet parents who were skeptical, who called us troublemakers, who told our people to stand down. Well, look at us now. We are the next generation who refuse to internalize the hatred, the marginalization, and the dehumanization the past put on our brothers and sisters. We will not stand down until people stop hurting our elders. We will not stand down until we teach this country about our parents' struggles and contributions. We will not stand down because it has taken national tragedy for this country to realize the legitimacy of our lives. So now, the youth stand up! This is our homeland! Our heritage is precious. Our bodies are strong. Our minds are sharp. We will not stand down. Yeah. To all my AAPI youth, fight for awareness, justice, and action. Educating yourself is the first step. Spread your awareness about our struggles and our achievements. Use your friends, your social media platforms, your family, your community. These are all powerful assets to eliminate hate. Talk to your teachers about how important it is to spotlight these issues at school. And if you're bullied for the color of your skin, harassed for your heritage, and what makes you, you, expose the perpetrators. It's not an isolated incident. It's not limited to you. And it's not your fault. Your standing up sends ripples throughout your community. Your friends seeing you fight back and stand for yourself makes all the difference for this generation's youth. We will not be called chink. We will not be called a virus. And we refuse to be accepted as anything else than equal. We belong here. Yeah. And finally, I think this sentiment resonates within us all. Don't be afraid of those who gaslight you. Don't be afraid of the kids who tell your issues don't matter, who joke about your struggles. History will prove them wrong. This country, our country, will not sleep in its deep-seated prejudice any longer. And the youth, all of us gathered here today, will be the ones who wake it up. Thank you. One more thing, we're passing out QR codes right now to support local AAPI businesses which have been vandalized and broken into because of the pandemic. So if you see one of my friends walking around here, talk to them. They'll give you a QR code to support our local businesses. Open your AirDrive too for the website if you can't get a QR code. And thank you for being here, everybody.
James Huang, everybody. So one thing that popped up this week that I want to share with you, especially after speaking to the youth like James, is, you know, okay, so this week, my college roommate forwarded me an email that I had sent him in 2011. Now, I was in law school in 2011, and this email that I sent him that day was directed towards the dean of the law school of which I was attending. Now, that week, the week that I sent this letter, I was just voted in to represent the West Coast of the National Asian Pacific American Law Student Association, which is a pretty big deal in my world, in that world over there. Because I was in charge of about 50 different law schools around here and their Asian American Pacific APABA clubs. So the dean of the law school, once a month, sends out an email to the whole school saying congratulations for certain events, congratulations for certain accomplishments that you've had. And one of the kudos that I received that week from the dean of the law school was for my being voted in to serve as APABA's West Coast rep. Now, one of my classmates decided to post on my Facebook wall that day, and this was back in 2011, where he said, "Congratulations for being Asian," or whatever you got that award for. And I didn't even get to see that comment, right? And we're talking about comments here, right? I got a lot more death threats this week than that one. But to a 22-year-old Asian American law student, one of 10 people of color out of 160 in his class, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. And the letter that I wrote the dean, I'm not going to read it out loud today, but what it reminded me was of the trials and tribulations that we have to deal with in our everyday lives. A part of that letter was me explaining to the dean that I did have it starts with an F and it ends with a K, and it was directed towards me. It said, "F you chink," written in graffiti on my apartment door. I did get jumped by a bunch of people, along with my African American teammates, where a lot of derogatory slurs were thrown our way as we were getting pounded from every single which way we couldn't even see. And that email he sent me this week reminded me that people don't mess with me like that anymore. But it still happens every single day. And that's one of the reasons why I'm up here. I know a lot of people have been coming at me and trying to say, "You've never been oppressed. Why do you even have a voice? Why are you even standing up? Sit down." And that's the exact reason why I am standing up, because I do have a voice, and this needs to be elevated, and not because of me, but because of all the individuals that you're seeing, all of the youths like you're seeing, like James. And because of him, because those individuals, those youths in our community are still experiencing everyday racism, right? Where they're experiencing racism because it's the least common denominator of humor that that individual could probably think of in that moment to try to get a laugh out of his or her peers. And I'm glad there's individuals like James, just like there was me back in 2011, saying, "I'm not going to handle this stuff. I'm not going to take it." So when I wrote that letter to the dean, I didn't say it was a hate crime. I didn't say that he was discriminating against me. I said something occurred and I think it warrants a discussion, because I was not going to let that sit with me alone, because that fight was not for me to fight alone. And I will say, as soon as I told the deans about it, they handled it accordingly and swiftly. So we need more people to stand up, is what I'm trying to say, y'all. So the next speakers we have up, I'd like to bring up two representatives from the Vietnamese American Roundtable. And I need to pull out my sheet first. We have attorney Huy Tran and Nancy Lay, both San Jose natives and representatives of the Vietnamese American Roundtable.
Man, look at this crowd today, though, y'all. You know, whenever the suggestion of rain comes around in San Jose, nobody really gets scared because rain here isn't really a thing, right? But to see everybody come out here like this to do, I mean, it feels good. My name is Huy Tran, and I'm here with the Vietnamese American Roundtable.
Hey everyone, I'm a little shorter than Huy, but my name is Nancy Lay. I'm also here with the Vietnamese American Roundtable, and we're here today because we want to talk about how AAPI hate also affects the Vietnamese community in San Jose. The Vietnamese community is young compared to other communities of color. This April 30th will mark the 46th year anniversary after the fall of Saigon, the moment that sparked the mass exodus of Vietnamese refugees into communities across the world. Though we are young, we are not strangers.
The Vietnamese community is no stranger to racism. When we first arrived, the refugees were targeted by the KKK. Even into the 90s, the Vietnamese faced xenophobia as we were attacked and targeted for being Asian, just like the case of Lee Minh Thig, who was killed by a white supremacist and then wrote a letter to a relative of his showing off that he had killed a Jap. Let me just say this to anybody who has those kind of mindset. If you're going to be racist, at least get your racist terms right.
The Vietnamese community is no stranger to violence. Even here in San Jose, where we have the largest Vietnamese population outside of Vietnam. San Jose Police Department shot Trần Thị Bích Cao and Daniel Pham. The recent violence targeting our Asian elders before Tết this year, that's a load of BS. I'm gonna keep it, yeah.
Our community had early challenges as we were learning new languages and acclimating to a new country. We struggled here, but we actually got a lot of support as well. Though we were targeted by racists, many communities welcomed and tried to help refugee families. Local governments created programs, and many families tried to help refugees transition to life here. When we dealt with police brutality, our black and brown brothers and sisters came to support us and stand with us. When we were organizing around the shooting of Trần Thị Bích Cao, we were mobilizing because this officer, twice the size of the woman that he shot, said he was afraid for his life because she took a martial arts stance.
Seeing everyone here today, there's so much that has changed over the past 46 years. And yet, still, so much has not. We still face racism, violence, and hate. Yet, as we stand here today, we also see the faces of the communities that want to stop AAPI hate. There's still a lot of work to be done. And the experience and history of the Vietnamese community informs us that for all of us to thrive, our communities must stand in solidarity with each other and confront the supremacy mindset and to confront racism.
In our efforts to fight racism, we cannot become racist ourselves. We must acknowledge the struggles of other communities as well, and commit ourselves to be anti-racist and anti-oppression. That is why we've marched in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. That is why we've joined in solidarity to fight for the rights of workers and to fight for more housing. So, we want to take this opportunity to express solidarity as well. To our black allies, we see you. We stand with you.
To our brown allies, we see you. We stand with you.
To our indigenous and immigrant allies, we see you and we stand with you.
To our LGBTQ plus and non-binary allies, we stand with you and we see you.
To the workers who have put themselves through so much through this pandemic, we see you, we stand with you.
To our differently abled allies, we see you and we stand with you.
And to our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, we see you, we stand with you. And we will fight alongside you. Stop Asian hate! 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 Thank you, y'all. Stand in power.
Vietnamese American Roundtable, y'all. You know, and that's just a really good reminder that this event is for everybody. This is not only an AAPI issue, this is an everybody in the United States of America issue. And we're just happy that we're happy the media decided to give us a little shine and then, you know, have us use it to promote everybody else, because that's what we want, right? This is not about us. This is not about us. This is about everybody. It's about the team. And I lost my sheet. Thank you. Oof. So I'm really excited for the next speaker, y'all. I am really excited for the next speaker. The next speaker is coming from San Jose, California as well. As you can see, there's a theme here. And Sarah Fernando, can you please start making your way to the stage, please? You're already here. I would like to introduce to everybody Sarah Fernando, the Chief Diversity Officer of Silicon Valley Pride. And she not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk because she's also a Senior Management Analyst for the County of Santa Clara's Office of LGBTQ Affairs. Welcome to the stage.
I got this. San Jose, how you doing out there? I am usually the one that brings the energy to the crowd, and I'm a little bit more rhythmic with my chants. I see the beautiful people. All of you look beautiful today, but I want you to chant with me. Stop Asian hate! Stop! Stop Asian hate! Stop Asian hate! Stop! 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 Tell me what community looks like. Tell me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
This is what San Jose looks like, y'all. I want to do a check-in. I want to make sure that everybody here, I want to hear it from the women especially. I want to check in and make sure, are you physically safe? Are you physically well? Look around you. Make sure that wherever you're at in your space, are you nourished? Are you hydrated? Are you physically safe within this space? I want to check in terms of your mental safety. How are you doing emotionally? Are you here in the right space right now? Do you feel well to be in this space? What do you need to do? Who do you need to lean on? If you are LGBTQ, lean on me. I will be your support. And I have lovely members from the LGBTQ community here who I am leaning support on. I want to check in with you spiritually. Are you spiritually in the right place? What do we need to do to get there? How can we bring this community together? I see a lot of allies in this space. I see immigrants. I see folks from the Black community. I see LGBTQ folks. Are they safe? And I just have to say, I am born and raised here in San Jose. I'm a proud, queer, transgender woman. And I have to say, in terms of just keeping myself nourished, I grew up East Side San Jose, near Lion Supermarket, really close by the Chuck E. Cheese. I have to say, I had my share of banh mi. I had my fair share. I remember when that was $1 at least sandwich. And I know I'm aging myself, but in terms of I know boba guys who I love boba guys, but they're so scared to come here in San Jose because San Jose has the best boba. And I had my fair share, trust. But look at what we did with this community, right? Lions Plaza, Milpitas Center, Cupertino, Little Saigon, Daly City. All that built with the hard work and effort from the Asian community. We have to understand that the blood, the sweat, the tears of the first generation immigrants that came here, we had to make that. We had to build that. And guess what? We are expanding out, and we are also inviting the Latinx community, the Black community, the LGBT community, the white community into our spaces, right? We know that we have the best Vietnamese food. Don't get me wrong. I've tried it. I went, and let's not go. If you want to talk about food, make sure you holler at your girl after. But in terms of what we do, this is the hard work and effort of Asians across the South Bay and across the nation, right? The hard work, the hard effort, the nail salons, the restaurants, the boba shops, the massage parlors, and for systemic racism to come through and claim the lives of 8 people in Atlanta, to have them murdered, and for identities to be diminished because of their industry, to say that this person had a sexual fetish, to say that this person had a bad day, and for white supremacy to come up and protect this human being, to diminish the identity of 6 Asian women, that is uncalled for. And guess what? When it comes to the transgender community, so far this year, 16 transgender people were murdered for being who they are. And guess what? They are also diminished for who they are. And guess what? Trans women are fetishized for their bodies, brutalized for their bodies. 44 trans women or trans folks were murdered last year alone, 22 of which were black trans folks. This year alone, 16 trans folks have been murdered, 10 of which are black trans women, 1 of which was murdered on Friday here in the South Bay. And her name is Natalia Smut. Natalia fell victim, the 16th transgender murder here in San Jose. And I know we talked about some of the things that I do within the county, right? I work for the Office of LGBTQ Affairs. I'm a Chief Diversity Officer for Silicon Valley Pride. This right here, this is sacred ground because Silicon Valley Pride happens here, right? I also work for the Human Rights Campaigns of the Board of Governors. On August 20th, when Natalia was in downtown San Jose, she was assaulted by a San Jose community member that tried to bring her in her car or in their car. And her life almost ended there. I reached out to her because she posted this on social media, and guess what? I reached out to her, I said, I'm gonna hold San Jose accountable for this. This should not happen to you. This kind of treatment of the transgender community, regardless of their identity, regardless of how they got there, and let's be real, the marginalization happens because we do not understand the transgender community. Natalia died in Milpitas, California, born and raised San Jose, went to Independence High School. Natalia is the 16th transgender person to die. So when I talk about safety, when I walk up in these spaces, I am scared to shit because I don't know how I'm going to be perceived. That's all transgender people. There are Asian transgender people here in the United States, a lot of them. I love to death, and I can't see one more transgender person get killed. 4 transgender murders alone in April, the 16th here, Natalia in San Jose, and I thought that would never happen. So, this is what I have to say to you folks. 1, check your privilege. Understand that the lives of transgender folks are very, very different from yours. I totally get it. But at the same time, what we need to do is educate ourselves on the trans community, right? Google doesn't judge. For the most part, I don't judge. Buy me boba and I will talk to you about the trans community. Trust. If you are an Asian group, talk to me. Learn, bring the LGBTQ siblings that families kick out of their homes into your organizations, because guess what? They need community. After that, make sure you stand with the LGBTQ community, stand with the Black community, stand with the immigrant community, stand with women, stand with or victims of domestic violence, stand with them and don't speak for them. That is not your fight. Do what you can. Give your privilege, give them the opportunity, give them the microphone to speak their truth. Empower them. Empower the LGBTQ community. Empower women. Empower the immigrant community. Empower those that need the mic. Then after that, make sure you are just held accountable for your actions, and just let's make this policy change together. What I want to do, San Jose, is make sure that you are brought to the attention of the hate, the hurt, and the trauma of the trans community. But even me, as an Asian woman, I'm Filipino. I love each and every one of you. I'm born and raised in San Jose. I love your food. I love burritos here. Look at this. But let's see what we can do to bring community together. Because why? Because this is what community looks like. Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Peace and love, y'all. My name is Sarah.
Sarah Fernando, y'all. Sarah Fernando. And, you know, this is just to reaffirm everything that she said. We here are here for a reason. We are here because we're the ones in our communities, we're the ones in our families that want to make a change. We're here because we are willing to give our days, sacrifice our Saturday afternoons to stand with the rest of our community members so they feel heard and they feel seen and they feel protected and loved too. Discrimination in the LGBTQ community is very, very, very high. We also need to stand with them. I don't care if you weren't doing it vocally before, we need to do it together now. And that goes the same with the African American and Black community. And that goes the same with the Latino, Latinx community. If you're out here and if you are aware of an event or a rally that is happening in your community, show up, show support, because the bodies in the crowd help. They help the visuals, they help the people who are being hurt, and it helps show every single other person who's trying to attack that community that you're not only messing with that one community, you're messing with all of us. Because we all need to stand together, because that's how we ultimately move on, all right, y'all? Sorry, my sister's part of the LGBTQ community too, so I just had a lot of flashbacks in my head right now. We all need to stand together, everybody. So the next speaker, if there's a theme that everyone could see here, is in the last 30 days after we held that first rally at San Jose City Hall. I went to rallies all throughout the Bay Area because just like in Game of Thrones, I was trying to unite the kingdoms. And I'm very thankful that on this speaker's agenda, we were able to have 4 to 5 rally organizers of different rallies around the San Francisco Bay Area. So now I would like to introduce an accidental activist, San Mateo rally organizer at 13 years old, designer, and Ashlyn So.
Thank you, Adam, for inviting me to speak here today. And thank you to all of you who are coming out here to support all communities. So, when I was younger, my parents brought me here during Christmas, for Christmas in the park. And, you know, and this is like kind of, it's amazing to see all people coming together, all people standing together here today. And so do you know that we are standing on historically significant grounds? The very ground that we are standing on dates back to 1797 as Plaza Mayor of the Spanish Pueblo, making it the oldest public space in Northern California. It is also the site of California's first state capitol. Today, it is the center of culture in San Jose. This plaza was renamed after civil rights activist Cesar Chavez. And to your right, the current Fairmont Hotel is the site of one of many Chinatowns in San Jose. Some of you may know that it was burned down 134 years ago because of anti-Chinese sentiment. What you may not know is that San Jose Chinatown was just one of 200 that was burned down against or destroyed in the 1880s. Fast forward 134 years later to today. These aggressions against Asian Americans are still happening. My name is Ashlyn So, and I started a rally back in February after seeing senseless acts of violence against our Asian elders. And despite many months of rallying, today we are still seeing the violence. But this doesn't surprise me. We are still going through a period of awakening. America is still going through a period of awakening. So what can we do? Why are we here today? We are here to make demands, to make our voices heard. We are here to ask our elected officials, our professionals, our youth, every single person out here today to ask yourself, how can I help? So repeat after me. We are stronger together.
We are stronger together.
Education leads the way.
Education leads the way.
And let's unite in love.
Let's unite in love.
We can't do it alone. Throughout these rallies, these past few months, I've met so many passionate people from different cultures, backgrounds, and some have now become my friends. And I am hopeful that we can work together as a community, as Asians, Blacks, Latinx, transgenders, and the LGBT community, and people of color, to unite and to dissolve hate. We must first love and act with compassion. The way forward to our future is education, and we need to start educating and teaching others about our cultures at a much younger age. It is important that we learn about ourselves and our history so that we can find our cultural identity and be proud of who we are. We need to create an environment where children are brought up to love each other and each other's history. We need to teach kids about our culture. We can start by reading books about other races and other cultures starting at kindergarten or first grade. We need to write that into the curriculum. This is how we can embrace diversity and be proud of our heritage. So I call on all of you today. We're here making history once again in this public plaza. So discover the beauty in our Asian culture instead of the fear. Find the truth instead of ignorance and come together as a community instead of being divisive. This is what today is about. Our work is far from over. Let's stand up and unite as a community. Thank you.
Ashlyn. So everybody, again, and the more youth in our community who are organizing rallies, who are doing their part and doing their civic duty of moving the ball forward. So very quickly, we're going to have a 3-minute intermission before we have Betty Young come onto the stage. So we have 3 minutes to go.
Yo, there they go. Biasly pushing negative narratives. I'm ready though. Cops wanna pull me over and bury.
right, everybody, let's get it moving back towards the stage. Felt a couple drops. All right, so one of the things that I really enjoy about this rainy day is, I had the opportunity to play college and professional football for a little bit, and the games that I remembered most were the ones that have inclement weather. Because number one, when it starts raining on you, you start being a little bit more in tune to yourself and your body, and then you start understanding the things that you're hearing a little bit better. So thank you for everyone for braving the weather out here today. And I want to take this moment to really thank the AAPI allies. Because just like we said at the last rally, if you look around you, we're not all Asian American in this building over here, y'all. So look around you. We want to give a shout out to the African American community, the Latino community, the Caucasian white community. We're standing on the land of the Ohlone people, so we need to thank the indigenous people and the natives here as well, including the Central and Southern Americans. And realistically, this is just a big hit on the San Jose community, y'all. So welcome to San Jose, California, to Cesar Chavez Plaza on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. So the next speaker I want to welcome up to the stage. She's also a San Jose native, Betty Young. She's the division supervisor of the Division of Equity and Justice in Santa Clara County. And Eastside San Jose, born and bred. Betty, come on up.
Hell yeah! What's Betty? King Betty!
Hi everyone. Thank you, Adam, for the introduction. Thank y'all for having me today. Thank you for being here. Like Adam said, I'm the division supervisor at the County of Santa Clara of the Division of Equity and Social Justice. What that means is that it's a division of 7 offices dedicated to advancing equity and social justice, righting the wrongs of our history here in Santa Clara County. That includes the Office of Women's Policy, the Office of LGBTQ Affairs, the Office of Immigrant Relations, the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement, Office of Cultural Competency, and so on and so forth. That is my role at the county. And my mother was assaulted on February 3rd. I'm the chief project manager for the Vietnamese American Service Center, 37,000 square feet of co-located services built in the heart of Eastside of Little Saigon. Everything in that center is going to be Vietnamese and Spanish language accessible. Supervised childcare on site so that no mother, no caregiver will ever have to miss an appointment because of lack of childcare. And my mother was assaulted. No one is immune to this hate because we all look the same to them, right? When I think of my mother, I think of our elders. I think of the OGs, I think of the older heads. I think of what they have survived, what they have endured, what they have sacrificed, what they have advocated and built for. We stand on the shoulders of generations from the Chinese Exclusion Act. For those of you who don't know, that is the bedrock of immigration law. Immigration law in this country is built on Chinese racism, keeping folks out because of their color, of their country of origin. That is the historical foundation. The I Hotel, the Asian American movement, the Black Panthers, the farm workers movement, all those movements, all the elders, what have they endured? What have they sacrificed? What have they advocated for? Ashlyn brought up a really good piece of history. This was the site of our second Chinatown. 1887 was burned down. It was a massacre. When you burn down buildings, you don't burn down the people inside the buildings. And then we forgot about it. San Jose forgot about that history. We didn't even know about Chinatown until we dug up the foundation for the Fairmont Hotel in the 80s. They found facades of buildings, pieces of a temple, shattered china buried in the ground. They brought folks from SF State, anthropologists. They brought the Asian American Studies professors out. They said, yeah, this was home. This was home to the second Chinatown that was burned down here in San Jose. Up until that point, it was the largest Chinatown in the North Bay. South Bay, south of the North, right? That is our history. And all these movements that I just mentioned, all of our elders, all the folks that came before us, all the folks who are doing the work now, what is it that they're demanding? The same thing again and again and again and again. Dignity, respect, humanity. That comes in the form of well-resourced communities. That comes in the forms of building safe neighborhoods, sustainable housing, living wages. My mother was a low-wage worker. Still is. Respect her contributions. Honor that. So, y'all, I feel the love. I feel the love. Thank you. But decisions are being made for us, about us, without us. Neighborhood associations, city councils, commission meetings, the county board of supervisors. Shout out to the 2 supervisors in the audience today. Supervisor Lee, Supervisor Ellenberg. Right? These are the spaces where decisions are being made. If we're talking about resource communities, we need to be there. Even if not as an elected, in the audience, I'll tell you this right now. Meetings are real different when you're in the room. They're real different when you're not in the room. Have eyes on this. Like library associations even. Right? Library commissions. You decide what books go into our shelves. I want to see Asian American history. I want to see a book about Ashlyn and her empire. I want to see the history of our people. I want to see the taking of Hawaii. I want to see the colonization of the Pacific Islanders. I want to see how you brought us here and forced us into this position that we have no choice but to fight and advocate for now, and we will not back down. We never have. For generations, we never have. We continue that fight. In these spaces, in these conversations, we will sit there. Even if just an audience member, you will sit there. There's a cowardness happens in the absence of our people. That's why these attacks are against women, against elders, because they're cowardly. Right? They're not going to mess with these guys over here. Right? They're not going to mess with you all. They're not going to mess with Adam. Right? They think they might want to mess with me. Don't let the cuteness fool you. I'll fuck you up. Like any Asian sister would. Okay? So here's what we do, y'all. Here's what we do. We get into these meetings. We get into these spaces. We support our journalists. We support our photographers, our artists, right? We make sure that our voices are our representation. We tell our stories. When my mother was attacked, my sisters and I, we pulled inwards, right? We had to take care of each other, take care of her first. Now my mother, all 5 foot tall of her, survived a war, survived passage on a boat out at sea. She survived a refugee camp without running water or electricity. She has survived a hell that I will never have to see, God willing, right? She is not a victim, she is a survivor. We are survivors. So when my sisters and I, we pulled inwards to protect the family, to protect ourselves, to nurture our souls, right? We realized that you all, Adam, the organizers, the advocates, all those who have spoke today, all those who are holding your beautiful signs, you're being asked to lead through trauma right now, through collective trauma. And I thank you and I love you with all of my heart for being there. Without ever knowing me or ever meeting me, you have already given me your love by being here. So we watched, my sisters and I, when we weren't there in that space, when we did not control the narrative, we watched the media mess it up. All the stories ended with, don't wear fancy bags and don't wear designer clothes, don't carry and flash your red envelopes, your Lisi. Fuck you, that's not how my mom was attacked. That's not how our elders are being attacked. That's not why. Most of these attacks don't even end in robbery. They messed it up because we weren't there to take the narrative. Our people aren't in the journal, like the journal pens and the media rooms, making sure the stories are being told right? Our people aren't in the discussions discussing curriculum to make sure the lesson plans in the classrooms are being taught right. We need to be in those spaces however you can be, and you're being here today. If our ancestors can see us now. I'm Vietnamese American, so I live, we believe in ancestral worship. We believe the spirit world coexists with the human world. All those folks who were here when this was a thriving Chinatown, I still feel it here with us now. That's their energy. That's their love for us. So be in these spaces. Take the narrative. Join the commissions. If you can't have that time, I respect that because we all got shit to do. Be in the audience. Be in that space. Provide your public comment. Right? Check that coworker with the low-key racism or the low-key fetishization of women like me. Check their asses. Because that's where it starts. These conversations where they think that they could say shit like that in front of you, you tell them you can't. It all starts there. It starts in little conversation. A lot starts in big ways. It starts with us right now. So I'm going to end this with a whole lot of love because you've given me a whole lot of love. Everybody came here with the same heart, with the same heart's desire to see this world be a better place, right? So, and the thing is, like, here's the amazing thing. Born and raised in San Jose, born and bred East Side, right? I don't know most of the people here. Hey. I don't even know y'all. Like, these are new faces. Make a new friend today. This is our base. This should be the next barbecue right here. So thank y'all for the love. Keep the fight going. Be in those spaces. Be present. Have eyes everywhere. In the community meetings, the neighborhood associations. Define what safe neighborhoods look like. Safe neighborhoods are resource neighborhoods. Who's making the decision for these resources? It needs to be the people. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. And Betty made a good one thing I want to pull from her speech is the fact that, you know, look around us. This is hallowed ground for a lot of different cultures right now. And earlier in this rally, I told you a story about a letter I sent to the dean of the law school 10 years ago. And I want to let you know that after that comment was made by my classmate with the everyday racist comment, mind you, that wasn't his first one he made against me, and that was not his first one that he made against other women in our class. But there are 3 people who stuck up for me right away, and I need to call those people out. Because there are 3 white dudes who are my classmates who immediately tried to fight that individual who was spewing racism and spewing hatred against the women in our class as well as the minorities. It was 3 white dudes. They're the ones that came over to my house right away and said, yo, what do we got to do, man? We got your back. That guy's doing something that we don't believe in. What he's saying is inappropriate and racist. So before I even had to have a conversation with that guy, 3 other individuals already did. So I just want to make everyone very aware that there's allies everywhere and they don't all look like us, okay? We got to remember that. So we can't be judging other individuals by the colors of their skin either. So the next person I want to welcome to the stage is an organizer of the Milpitas Rally, Emerald May Rubio. She is an associate marriage and family therapist and badass mofo.
It's too high. How do you make it higher? Okay.
My name is Emerald May Rubio. I'm a mother of 2 preteens, a wife, a proud Filipina, and a strong survivor of physical, emotional, sexual abuse, rapes, domestic violence. Because of my traumas and refusal, just stubbornness, to take my steps towards my healing, I know what it's like to be filled with so much anger and rage and pain to the point that I'll admit it to the world. I was destructive. I was abusive. I was addicted. I used that to escape my pain rather than facing it. But for the last 8 years, I've been so intentional about taking my steps towards my healing journey. So I stand before you today as a therapist who helps fellow trauma warriors. Where my fellow trauma warriors at? towards their healing as an activist, as an advocate for my community. Where my community at? I'm here to talk to you about crimes against women, children, and even the LGBTQIA plus community, specifically abuse, domestic violence, and sexual violence. So I don't know if you know, but April is Sexual Assault Awareness. By show of hands, I want to know who knew that. That makes me sad because everybody should know that. This is a topic that is something that hits so close to my heart because of my own personal experience that I've had to live through. And now I choose my life and my voice to facilitate healing. Did you know that every 73 seconds someone living in the US is sexually assaulted? That is not okay. Every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. That's not okay. And yet, only 5 out of every 1,000, so 1,000, I'm gonna say it, 1,000 perpetrators who commit sexual violent crimes will end up in jail. I'm going through mine right now. He just got locked up in January. I just spoke up about it last year, and I'm going through it right now. So as I'm going through it right now, I'm still gonna use my voice for you. So this not only hurts me because of what I've been through, it hurts for every survivor. Do you know what it feels like to be trapped and silenced and a prisoner in your own mind, body, and soul? Sexual violence, it affects your ability to trust other people. It affects how you connect with friends, with family, in school, and work, and how you show up in the community. It affects your ability to be vulnerable in a sexually intimate relationship if you choose to do that. Did you know that 1 out of every 3 women experience sexually violence in their life? 1 out of 3. That is not okay. And 1 out of 3 will be between the ages of 11 and 17. These are babies. I was 8 on my first sexual violent attack with my uncle, who molested me for 4 years in my home. So people ask me, including the police, why didn't you speak up? Why are you telling me this now? Why didn't you come forward before? That was last year. Because there was so much abuse and domestic violence going on in my home. I was terrified to say anything. I heard a story just this week that broke my heart. 24-year-old Natalia, I think Sarah had brought it up just a few speakers ago, killed by Elijah on April 23rd from domestic violence. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence. This is not okay. This is too much. We're already dealing with so much racism and violence in the community. It's enough to have to experience it in your homes, in your relationships. Come on. Why do we live in a world where I have to say, please, don't hurt me? Why do we live in a world where I have to say, please, don't rape me? Why do we live in a world where I have to say, please, don't kill me? Who's had enough? I want to see the people who are willing to take a stand against violence, but that means we need to show the world and be visible. We need to break the silence. So I need you to stand before me. I want to see the people that have to walk around with their keys the moment they step out of their door to make sure, just in case, that they're not going to be hurt. Who does that with me? Get up here. Who has to walk around with their keys just like this? Just to make sure. Come on. Where are you at? Get up here. Where you at? Get up here. Where are the people that have to be hyper vigilant? They have to be aware of their surroundings at all times. I shouldn't have to walk around like that. Where are the people that fear for their safety? That they're going to be harmed. That they're going to be raped. That they're going to be killed. Where are you? Where are the women, the Asians, the people of color who've experienced abuse? I know it's scary, but I'm here standing with you. Stand with me. It's okay, I'm here with you, and I will protect you. Where are the people who have experienced or even been exposed to domestic violence in their homes? Where are you? Where are the children and adult survivors of molestation? You don't need to hide. I'm here with you. I'll wait for you. Where are the people who've been sexually assaulted? Stand with me. Look around. This is trauma. This is trauma. I need to see. Betty, you had said something about changing the narrative that hit me. I want to see the male role models who are willing to protect and be a protective bystander. Stand up right here. I want to see you. Right here. I want to see the fathers who are willing to teach their kids to be respectful and loving and kind. I want to see the husbands, the boyfriends who are willing to be loving and kind to their husbands. We cannot do this alone. We need to do it together. We need each other. So let me hear you. Sit down. I want to hear you. The people united. We'll never be defeated, guys. Come on, get it right. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. The people united. We'll never be defeated. I think we could do better than that. What do you think, guys? I think we could do better. Let's do it again. The people united will never be defeated. We'll never be defeated. Repeat after me. Rise up, rise up, rise up.
Rise up, rise up, rise up.
Rise up, my people, 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 rise up.
Push your fists up, fists up, fists up.
Put your fists up, fists up, fists up.
Push your fists up, fists up, fists up.
Put your fists up, fists up, fists up.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And I think that's a little bit more of a visual representation of who we have here in this place today and the things that we've gone through and endured and overcome to be here today. So I appreciate everyone being open like that. Now, we have a lot of community groups who are helping put this event together, and they're making this space very special. So if you're not registered to vote, I highly recommend you go back there to the Stand with Asians table who are registering individuals to vote. I believe there's around 20 volunteers who are also walking around registering people to vote. And another one of the community groups that have been a very big part of making this place special is the next group that's going to come on stage, the Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club.
Afternoon, San Jose. I want to thank Adam, San Jose, to invite us to this rally in support of Stop Asian Hate. The Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club looks like this community. When we talk about solidarity, when you talk about being together for what we need, we look like you. So we are very much pleased and honored to be here to spread this message. The Pacific Savages have been in LA, Sacramento, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, San Francisco for the same message of Stop Asian Hate. We stand with you for what's been said here today, what's been said in LA, what's been said in Sacramento, what's been said in Vallejo. It's all the message that we need to put together. And I got to commend Warrior Ashley, Warrior Huang. Those are the ones that we need to empower. The youth are the ones that are going to change up this future. Us as elders, us as adults, us as leaders are the ones that will uplift those two voices you heard today. And such powerful voices, 13 years old. Man, that's awesome, Sister Ashley. Dig it, dig it. That's what we need. We need that kind of solidarity, that kind of voice, that kind of speaking up. And I say this to kind of give an example of the idea of speaking up and taking our space. The Pacific Savages before you, there was a time when we were told you don't really need to have a club like you guys. And we said, no, you did it already too many times, so folks like us, we're doing this thing. The Pacific Savages went against those not wanting us to have our space, to talk about the injustices that happen to all of us. Sovereignty Hawaii, tragedy in the Polynesias, tragedies in the Philippines. All of us here together represent and reflect what we're all saying here today. That kind of injustice, that kind of unspeakable truth, that kind of racism and bias amongst folks like us. And like what we said today, our space is our space. You ain't telling us anymore that you don't matter, that you don't count, that you're not human, because you're Chinese, Japanese, Korean, South Vietnamese, all the races of Asians and Pacific Islanders that represent all of us, that made this place what it's supposed to be about. America is supposed to be about the folks in this crowd right here. And you all know in your different consciousness of your communities how much you've given to make America great and will continue to make it great. So I encourage you, as we go forward, we always say, well, what can we do to stop hate? What can we do the next step? And the biggest thing right now is very kind of a real simple thing. You need to get involved, like we said here today. The fact that you're here, you're involved. The fact that you're out here to say something, take space, you're here. This place right here, like Sister Ashley said, this is the mecca for this big thing called San Jose. And I'm telling you, Brother Adam, it's not a small feat to get this park to do this. Because I know those against us, we're going to give you all the red tape not to have this happen here in this park. So that tells you our voice now has to be heard. The fact that we're here, the fact that we're here in numbers, the fact that from here, the famous multiple of 10. Each of you will bring out the message to another 10 people. How many folks will that be? How many folks across California? How many folks from Northern California, Southern California, and we keep going? That's what's going to change this place. That's what the involvement looks like. And what I said in a couple of different places I spoke to say the same kind of thing. What does it look like to be involved? And my thing, it's a real kind of simple saying every day, just like when you exercise. You know what to do. When I say jumping jacks, I'm sure everyone in this room would do a jumping jack. I have no doubt. Because you know in your mind, what does that mean? So I'm going to share with you 3 things I've been saying both when I go and to my students, because I'm a public educator at a high school. Down in Union City, heavy Asian Filipino community down there. So we know the voice, Union City. So I'm going to say to you the things that keeps me going, to remind me when I see things, are these simple things that resonate in your mind every day, every morning, every part of your day. See it, say it, change it. You do those 3 things, things will change. Imagine in New York, if those fools watching from inside the building would have said something, just say something. Tell that dude, hey man, what the fuck you doing? I have no doubt he would not have stomped her 3 or 4 more times. Tell me about it. Imagine if those guys came out and said, say it out loud after they saw it. Change the result. That's what I'm saying. Anytime you get involved, anytime you do something, it's going to change the result. And I say this because this is the crazy Hollywood thing now. Do not take pictures of that shit. Say something. Do something. Change it. So I'm asking you, as you leave here today, put that in your heart. Put that in your soul. Give it to folks around you, because that's what will change this crazy thing called hate against all of us and all of us that look like us, right? So let's do it right now. I'm going to do the famous exercise thing. See it. Say it. Change it. See it. Say it. Change it. See it. Say it. Change it. Stop Asian hate when? Now. Stop Asian hate when? Now. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now. Let's do it. Let's do it, San Jose.
Is it iPhone? No. Alright. Alright, thank you. Yeah. Hey, at least you were willing.
The Pacific Savages Motorcycle Club, y'all. They're coming out here. They're out here supporting Rain or Shine. They brought all of their people out from Northern California and Southern California too. So we got a little culture education too, y'all. That was a haka. And I'll tell you, I used to coach football at Menlo Atherton High School back, 2015 to 2017 or 18. And we had our kids do the haka after each game. It's not hard to learn. I mean, no, it's not easy to learn, y'all. So it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of practice to get that thing going. But the next person I want to invite up to the stage is an individual who I saw do an impromptu spoken word at another San Jose rally a couple weeks ago. Mariah Faith Tan. She's a spoken word poet and a second-year nursing student at University of San Francisco. Is it okay for her?
What's good, San Jose? It's beautiful to hear you, to see you, and to be amongst your presence today. A little bit about me. Born and raised in San Jose. Right now I'm up in San Francisco chasing a bag in school, but it's beautiful to come back here and be with you all. And I just want to read a spoken word that I wrote. It's called This Is For My Generation. This is dedicated to the erasure and ridicule and minimization of my people. To the ones who are the punchline, to will rice his rice, fox-eyed, kung flu with a bat appetite. This is dedicated to the Filipino nurses that carry the weight of a stereotype on their backs. Although making up 4% of nurses in the U.S., they accounted for a third of nurses that had died from COVID-19. This is dedicated to those that 2020 villainized, chastised, and let die without any outcry. This is dedicated to those that seem to keep scoring bronze in the oppression Olympics, as if my bronze skin has exempted me from any sort of exclusion or self-hatred. As if even though we are beat down, spat on, stolen from, it doesn't matter because apparently we're the model minority. It doesn't matter that we fill your lecture halls, follow your rules, and get to be depicted as the nice guy, the smart guy, the CEO with a nice life. But we matter. Asian lives matter, and it shouldn't have been until we've been beaten and battered that you in turn give us the dignity that we deserve. This is dedicated to those that have suffered the violence of being silenced into thinking that xenophobia doesn't apply to them. To those that have been marginalized and categorized as off-white. To those that have suffered the damaging stereotype of interchangeability, stripped of their identity, and have turned purple from brutality. This is dedicated to the sweet old Chinese ladies tugging the roller carts of veggies along Clement Street's groceries. This is dedicated to the charming old Vietnamese men sitting outside the water store with their lotto scratchers and their laughter. This is dedicated to the seasoned Filipino nurses that mentored me as a sophomore, smiled at me on their dinner breaks, baon hot, spirits hot. I don't know when this will all end, but I pray that when we become them, that the dedication to me is filled with less pain and with more acceptance. But when did mornings turn to mourning? Unprovoked, they've stolen our belongings to strip our feeling of belonging. Gone are the days elderly Asian people can go about on morning walks without getting slammed to the concrete, to sustain bone-shattering, brain-damaging, life-threatening injuries, then wind knocked from their chests, phones, wallets stolen, leaving unrest. As the light left their eyes, this wasn't a case of wrong place and wrong time. When did Chinatown become battlegrounds for them to shock fear into our elderly, ambushed, robbed, and beaten terribly? Unprovoked, they fetishize to be subservient, meek, a tiger lily. Gone are the days the young Filipino woman can go about her morning commute in broad daylight without getting dragged by her hair down the Caltrain pedestrian tunnel at the mercy of a remorseless pervert looking for a quick fuck. All while she heard "fuck you, Asians," as her body scraped the concrete. They have the audacity to put our women in a box, to fulfill an exotic erotica, so indiscreet, to be labeled as silent temptresses instead of rightfully being called victims of assault, violated, erased, and dismissed by tyrants, unprovoked. They've donned red, white, and blue, feeling so threatened by the third primary color, they've reduced us to secondary, tertiary, quaternary, yellow. Oh, they stoop so low, it becomes so hard to see. You know, maybe if they quit pulling their eyelids back at us, then they'd see that gone are the days that we can sit in complicity as the Asian American community is disparaged and killed. We live in a time where the roles are reversed. It is we that are telling our parents not to stay out late, not to talk to strangers, and to always stay alert. The prejudiced beast has evolved from our elementary bullies into stalking shadows tailing our uncles and aunties. And we have had enough. We live in a time where we're demanding for accountability, challenging the attempts to minimize murder as a bad apple on a bad day type insensitivity. Dismantling the mold created by the white man to shove us into, to divide people of color viciously. Because we have had enough. We live in a time where just posting a link tree on your bio simply isn't enough to share. But please, we're not asking for a yellow square, one and done, not to give another care. This momentum cannot die into the sidelines, only to be remembered by those that have lost a piece of their family. There must be change, and we've lost too much not to turn things around indefinitely. Thank you.
That's a college sophomore, y'all. Right? Yeah? Perfect. And you know what? I spelled her name incorrectly on a press release I sent out last night. So I sent out another email this morning correcting that name because people's names are important and they need to be spelled correctly. So, next up on the list. Hey, well, first of all, it's raining a little bit, it's a little cold, but I'm still ready to march. Are y'all ready to march and take up some space? Good. Because right before I give the stage to Asians with Attitudes, a community group over here in Oakland in the Bay Area, and even then, y'all are national, actually. Yeah, I was over at the rally in Oakland that they hosted a few weeks ago. They had individuals flying in from all over the country. But before I give the stage to them, because they will be leading us through chants that we will be chanting on this march, and then they will be teaching y'all what we're going to be yelling, because we're going to be being loud and we're going to take up space and we're going to take as much time as we want because I bought a permit. But for me, this is the part where I wanted to take the stage first. This is the part where I'm going to be able to say my piece with y'all. And how I want to take this time is I want to share with you, well, first a little bit about me. I'm just an individual. I'm just a business owner around here, and I'm an attorney, right? So one thing that I want to share is because I represent a lot of individuals who are victims of discrimination and sexual harassment. I want to share with you 5 points of how you could spot discrimination in the workplace, how to report it, and what you need to do to progress if that discrimination continues to occur, right? So this is going to be in a nutshell in a couple minutes. Number one, everyday racism is still racism in the workplace. Anytime you're belittled because of how you look, who you are, any of your protected characteristics, which could be your race, sex, ethnicity, diversity, LGBTQ status, hairstyle, if it's your native hairstyle. If you get made fun of, or if you are a subject of an adverse employment action saying that you're fired, you're demoted, you miss out on another promotion that's given to a white male or another individual even though you deserved it, what you need to do is you need to report that to your manager, and you need to report that to the Human Resources Department. And when I'm saying report, I don't mean walk down the hall and have a conversation with your HR department or have a conversation with your manager. Because the first thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that conversation, that complaint, you need to make sure that's in writing and that is on the record at your business. Even if something that happens to you isn't discrimination, isn't even that bad because that individual never even said the buzzword, or they never even alluded to other characteristics that are defining and protected in the state of California, you should still report that in a written writing to the HR department or to your manager, because if it gets worse, if you are a victim of discrimination at work, or if you are a victim of discrimination in public, and you report it again, that individual, even if that first act wasn't as bad to get that individual fired, now they have another complaint on their record and another individual who's complaining about discrimination in the workplace. So when you have those two written reports about discrimination at work, then your employer, they better do something, because right now they're having other employees complain about discrimination at work and they're standing idly by. And that's something that a lot of employers do not want to do. And as a small business owner, I wouldn't do that. So make sure you speak up for yourself. Make sure you report things in writing. Whenever you see someone else discriminate, whenever you see someone in the workplace discriminate against someone else, when it's not directed at you, immediately call that individual out. One way that I do that is I immediately say, that's inappropriate. And then they automatically say, oh, you're not cool. I thought you were cool and I could say this around you. And I'm like, oh, I am cool, but what you said was inappropriate. And when you are around a group of people, that is a very minimal, aggressive thing to do that'll still get your point across, right? That's inappropriate. Someone says, hey, y'all can get it. I already got in trouble for saying a lot of racial slurs earlier this week when I was trying to explain things, but y'all can get it. Anytime anyone uses a derogatory term towards someone's race, sex, ethnicity, diversity, LGBTQ status, their hairstyle, anything that y'all deem inappropriate generally, just say that's inappropriate. Next, you need to know, as bystanders, you are also able to report discrimination at the workplace on behalf of your coworkers. Because sometimes your coworkers, they don't want to speak up because they don't want to jeopardize future job opportunities. They don't want to jeopardize their reputation as being the Asian American or African American or Latin person who's complaining about work. Because, I've lived that life before, and my skin should be tougher. I should just keep on keeping on and pressing on, regardless of what I get called. But another thing, just tuning back into that 2011 complaint I gave to the dean of my law school, I didn't think that individual should be disciplined. I don't think that he should have been kicked out of school. But what he did and the other actions that he was doing definitely deserved a discussion. And I'm going to make sure that that discussion is had, because that's going to be on the record too. And all the individuals in that room are going to be on record of saying, this is what happened, these were the facts, and this is what we decided. So hold your elders, hold your managers, hold your employers accountable, because they don't know what you don't report, and they won't protect you what they don't think is going to be an issue. So if you see discrimination in the workplace, report that thing. If you see your friends being discriminated against in the workplace, don't talk to them and ask them, hey, do you want me to report this for you? If you felt offended, if you felt it was inappropriate, you report that to HR. You report that to that individual's manager. Because then that is truly what being an ally is. It's helping your friends, helping your family fight the fights that they don't know you're fighting for them. But when it comes down to decision-making time, they're going to know that everyone has the support around them. And that's what's really important. And that's all I want to say. So the next group we have up, because we're getting into the march portion of this rally, we're going to do a short march, and then we're going to return, and if we still have gas left in these generators, then we're going to have room for an open mic for the community. And remember, if you have 10 or more community members, you get to come to the front of the line. So Asians with attitudes, y'all ready? All right, come on stage, y'all.
What's good, San Jose? All right, so before I start, I want to make one thing clear. Even though you only see a few of us speaking here today, everyone from our organizations is doing their part. And without any particular member of our organization, AWA would fail. So I want to give a chance for everyone to introduce themselves and tell us where they're from.
Hey everyone, I'm Vu from right here in San Jose, California.
Hey everybody, I'm Ebro from Fremont, California.
Hi everybody, I'm Jen, I'm from Oakland.
Hi everybody, I'm a San Jose native from Eastside San Jose.
My name is Yun, I came from Tracy, California.
Hey everyone, my name is Randolph. I'm from Hayward, California.
What's up everybody, my name is E. I'm from San Mateo, California.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan Palomo. I'm originally from Guam. I'm an official supporter of AWA.
All right, and I am John, and I'm a proud Vietnamese American that's born and raised in San Jose. So, over the past few months, I've been going to so many different rallies from all over the state. But I can tell you guys one thing. There's nothing like a San Jose rally. It feels good to be home. And for those of you that don't know what AWA is, I think it's a great way to start it with a chant. So I'm going to say stand up. You're going to say fight back. Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! Stand up! Fight back! So that's exactly what AWA is about. Like many of you, we spent the whole last year being stuck in the house, watching these videos of these cowards. They're cowards, attacking our elders, attacking our people, attacking our women. And they said, it's just their bad day. Fuck your bad day. And we're currently trying to expand from, right now we're working in San Jose, working in San Francisco, working in Oakland, working in LA, and moving wherever the community needs us. So if any of you want to help out, feel free to reach out. But at the same time, I understand that patrolling is not for everybody. It's not an easy thing to do, and we don't expect everyone to do anything. But at the same time, I do want you guys to step up and do what you can. We all have a role here. We all have a position we need to play, and we need all to stand up. You guys can do things such as donate to the community, donate to the victims, post spread awareness, host a rally, support a rally. But the only thing that's not okay is doing nothing. Like even the little things that could matter, you could fix the things in your household. If everyone is willing to take their grandparents, their moms, their dads grocery shopping, we won't be having these attacks. So just do your part and do what you can. And before I pass the mic over to my brother Ebro, I want to give a big shout out to Adam and his team and everyone out there that made this rally happen. And most importantly, I would like to give everyone out here a shout out. I know the weather's not the greatest weather, but it shows that the kind of people you are to be out here with us today. All right, so up next is a brother that I've met through this movement. His name is Ebro. He's going to tell you a little more about his experience with AWA and how he's going to move forward.
How you doing, San Jose? So my name's Ebro, and I just wanted to share how I got involved with AWA. When I first saw these attacks, I went through a wave of emotions just like the rest of us. I felt angry, and I felt sad, I felt helpless, and I've been fired up ever since. I had no idea what I could do to help our elders in the community, but I knew what I couldn't do, and that was to stand by and sit back while our elders and our people continue to be targeted. My first patrol was right here in San Jose with my brother John, my homies Knuckled, Elijah, Daniel. I'm not going to front, when I first stepped out, I was pissed off. I was fired up and I was ready to flip anybody that opposed me, anybody that looked like they had a problem with Asians. But after that night, somebody hit me up in my DM and they said something that really changed my view and opened my heart. Something that I want to share with you guys. What that message said was, one candle can light 1,000 more. And that message really made me realize the power each of us have. And I knew right then and there that no matter what I do, I will be an example of that flame. Not with anger, but with light. By stepping up and showing up for those in need. By being an example of what community and compassion looks like. For my son, for my family, and for my community. And I encourage everyone who hears us and everyone who sees us to be an example of that flame. Every single person has a role to play. Every single person has a power. Whether it is sharing the message, whether it's teaching our friends and family about equality and standing up against race hate, whether it's resources, whether it's patrolling. I just want to encourage everyone, young and old, all neighborhoods and communities, to be an example of that flame. We will not stop protecting our people. We will not stop building our community. And we will show up every time for our people. Believe that. So AWA, what do you say? Say it loud and say it proud. Asians with attitudes!
All right, so next up, I'm going to pass the mic over to our sister Yoon. She'll go over some of the chants that we'll be doing during the march.
Thank you, Adam. I'm short. Hi, guys. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. I've never really spoken in front of people before, so this is a treat. My name is Yun. As I stated, I'm from Tracy, California. Before I go over some of the chants, I kind of want to do something uncomfortable for us to be comfortable. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. Asians have always been the ones that are not ones to speak out. We're not ones to make noise. And today, I think, would be a really good fit for us to kind of just let it all out. We are mad, angry, have a lot of aggression in us. So the one thing that I really want to do, I want to hear you guys scream. Let it all out. I don't care what you want to try to do. Just make some noise. So ready? Are you guys ready for me? Ready. 1, 2, 3! Ooh, y'all sound so good. Okay. All right. So we're going to go over 4 chants. It's really easy. All right? Give me 1 second. So the first one is something that you guys have all heard. When I say, show me what community looks like, you're going to say, this is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Ooh, yes. Okay. The second one is, silence is violence. And you guys are going to say, we are not a virus. Silence is violence!
We are not a virus!
Silence is violence!
We are not a virus!
Silence is violence!
We are not a virus!
Nice. Now the third one, I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with this one as well. When Asians get attacked, you guys say, stand up, fight back. When Asians get attacked,
stand up, fight back.
When Asians get attacked,
stand up, fight back.
When our grandmas get attacked,
stand up, fight back.
When our sisters get attacked,
stand up, fight back.
Nice. The last one is the one of my favorites and actually hits home, and it hits for all of us. When I say, get it right the first time, that was a hate crime. Get it right the first time!
That was a hate crime!
Get it right the first time!
That was a hate crime!
Get it right the first time!
That was a hate crime!
Get it right the first time!
That was a hate crime!
All right, beautiful people, y'all ready to march and chant with us? Yeah!
All right, y'all. Y'all ready to march and take over these streets? All right, everyone, let's start easing over this way. If you follow me on Instagram, you got the marching map. All right, so what we're going to do is if you're in the back, follow the front. If you're in the front, follow these people. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to San Fernando Street. We're going to take our first left. We're going to go to the next intersection, which is going to be right in front of the Performing Arts Center. We're going to take another left. And then we're going to take a right to go to Discovery Meadow. Then we're going to take a picture in front of that mural. And then we're going to promptly march right back. So it's a 0.6 mile loop. Let's do this thing, y'all.